Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Valero Texas Open episode of Green on the Greens. And yes, as you can see there, Cody is burning the sage to please Gambler, the gambling god. And I'm glad he is finally doing it this week because he put off doing it last week. And then whatever is cursing him transferred over to me because I had actually been having a good golf season and I've been giving out winning picks on this show until last week. And then that curse transferred over to me and I went 0-4 for the first time in a while. I went 0-4 on the show last week. So you got the sage burning. Praise be to Gambler. What does that smell like? I don't think I've ever burnt sage before.
Not as good as you'd think. You know, sage itself smells pretty good. Burning sage does not smell great at all. It's I think that's what actually gets the spirits away is they can't stand the smell.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so I hope this pleases Gambler, the gambling god. We
We
need
can
some help
only
this
hope.
week. We got the Masters next week. We need a good tournament heading into the Masters so we can boost our bankroll a little bit. If there's any time for the curse to be lifted, it's now. So please, Gambler, hear our prayers, smell our sage, and leave us alone.
That's right. Please. And like last week was the perfect example of what's been going on. Like you went 0-4. I obviously went 0-4 as well because I didn't burn the sage last week.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, Matty Schmid, my top 20 pick, plus 350, a little bit of a long shot to finish top 20. Wraps up his round with a birdie on 18 on the 72nd hole, and he ends his round at T19, gets surpassed twice, finishes T21, does not cash.
Yeah. I had a close one with Hoge Coin. Took him top 10. He looked like he was, flirting with it. Collapsed a little bit down the stretch, finished 2 shots back of a top 10 finish. So, yeah, we both had some near misses this past week. And I think for the first time, I think we both went 0-4 the first episode back for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And then we hadn't gone 0-4 each. So 0-8 as a show since then. So if this sage doesn't work, I don't know what will.
I'll have to get bigger sage or something like that for the Masters. Or maybe I'll burn like a green jacket or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Are you going to keep that burning throughout the show or
no, it's getting extinguished now because
right.
I won't be able to talk with this smell going on for an entire half hour.
Gambler, please help us this week. Yeah, we both went 0-4 last week. I did win closest to the win. We'll get more into closest to the win at the end of the show, as we always do. But it is the Valero Texas Open. It's the final event before the Masters next week. What do you have to say about this event in general?
I said it was TPC Craig Ranch last week. I apologize. It is TPC San Antonio.
Right.
I got the TPC Texas courses mixed up. But this is a fun golf course, man. And it's one that provides a pretty unique test. It's not unique in that strokes gained approach, as it is in most weeks, is very important. But like driving distance isn't necessarily a big thing, but good drive percentage, fairways gained, those are big stats I'm looking for. And then also on approach, it's very weird where it's like the two polar extremes. Your approaches are either from like under 100 yards or over 200 yards.
Yeah.
And also the bunkers and around the green play, I'm looking at that a little bit this week as well, because those are also two important things.
Yeah, around the green play is huge. That's going to play into a couple of my picks. And I'm looking at our picks that we've made for this week, Cody. A lot of familiar names from previous episodes. So a lot of guys that we need to break through for us. And I think they will this week. So I think that's it. We're going to give out a couple of LPGA picks at the end of the show too. But obviously. I think we're good to dive into it.
Yeah, we can on spur of the moment also give out a Live Golf Miami pick because why not?
Oh, I haven't even looked at that. If you have one, we'll save that for the end of the show. But I've never bet on Live. I don't know if I can do it. I actually went on their website today to see how John Rahm had been doing in previous events, and their website's a disaster.
Oh my God!
I could not figure out really how to figure out his stats, or it took me a while even to figure out where he had placed in recent events. So. Yeah, I'm scared of betting on Live, but if you have a pick, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Oh, I have not handicapped it at all. I don't know how to handicap Live. Their website is like the Mr. Beast YouTube video of golf websites. Like it's just like so much visual stimulation. I can't handle it.
So many graphics. Yeah, it's tough. All right, let's get into an event that we have handicapped, the Valero Texas Open top 20 pick. I don't know if this name been brought up. Our top 20 picks, I think, might be new, but then when we get into top 10, top 5, and winners, there are some familiar names. But let's get into your top 20 pick.
Yeah, I'm going with Mark Hubbard. I don't think we brought him up this season, and probably for good reason. His finishes haven't been that great. He's coming in off back-to-back T31s, but the form is actually a little bit better than those finishes would indicate. And it's actually exactly what I'm looking for at the Texas Open too. Over the last 8 rounds, those two T31s, he's second in this field in weighted strokes gained approach. And I mentioned that approach play is very important, but he's also third in par 5 scoring. You have to take advantage of the par 5s at TPC San Antonio, 11th in fairways gained in this field over the last 8 rounds. So he's really like doing everything that you need to do well at this event to have a good finish. Lack of length off the tee is always one of the big things that hurts Mark Hubbard. That's not really a big issue here. Like I said, distance isn't the most important thing. It's accuracy and being, dialed on approach. And he's doing both of those things. He's also been decent enough with the short game. He's not losing strokes. He's gaining slightly over his last 12 rounds. I think that should serve him well here. And I think with the approach play, I really like this number on him.
All right, Mark Hubbard. By the way, I can't believe I didn't mention about this event. Obviously, my fellow Canadian Corey Connors dominates this event, 2 wins. I don't think either of us are betting on him this week. I think he is kind of overpriced now because of his 2 wins, especially he won here last year. But Corey Connors is playing really good golf right now.
Yeah, I think the one thing that worries me about Connors a little bit is we've talked about around the green play already, and his around the green play has been dropped off quite a bit this year, in my opinion. So, I think that worries me a little bit.
Just bringing up this comment here, Mondo Angelucci says, how about Bads for top 20? Good course history here. Played decent last 16 months. Well, always world-class around the green and tons of experience. Great odds for top 20. I'm giving it a shot. Mondo, what are his top 20 odds? Because I do like Baddeley. I've actually bet on him to finish as a top Oceanic player a couple tournaments ago. I think it was actually at the Valspar and it won for me. So yeah, I have been watching him a little bit. Great course history. T18 last year or in 2022, T16 in 2018, solo 5th in 2017. Yeah, he is like a top 20 machine at this course. So I think that's a great look. I haven't bet on him personally, but I might do that after that shout out.
Plus 500 on BetMGM. So, yeah, very good odds on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And BetMGM, we know all ties paid in full. So, yep, I'm sold, Mondo. I'm jumping on that. Let's go Bads top 20. I'm adding it to my card. Love it.
Comment squad ride. Let's go. I love it.
Yep. Love it. All right, my top 20. Name of a guy who's actually sneakily played some pretty good golf in his past 2 starts. We saw him a little bit last week. I actually think he was tied for the lead at some point on Sunday last week. Akshay Bhatia. I'm going to take him at plus 225 to finish in the top 20. His approach play was off the charts last week, plus 1.94 strokes gained approach per round last week. So his ball striking is fantastic. He's not the longest driver in the world, but he's pretty accurate off the tee, which is going to help him obviously this week. He gained strokes putting his last 2 weeks as well, which is huge for him. His play around the greens hasn't been great this week, this season, which is why I'm mostly sticking him just top 20. But yeah, his approach play can't look past it last week. And now 2 straight top 20. So plus 225 for him to finish in the top 20 for his 3rd straight start. I think it's a pretty good look.
Absolutely. I mean, Akshay is one of the more fascinating guys on the PGA Tour. Like skipped going to college at all and just turned pro. And it seems like he's really starting to put it together a little bit. I think that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing a little bit more consistency out of him. So yeah, I really like that play a lot.
Going back to the chat here, Jim Berm 111 says, what y'all thinking for first round leader? Roars. Yeah, there's 2 ways you can do first round leader. You can either take a guy completely off the board, because really in 1 round of golf in the PGA Tour, anybody could be leading after the first round. So you can either just take a random name that you like that you don't think can sustain it over 4 rounds. Or the other strategy, which is a strategy I'm leading this week, is you get better value on the top guys, because obviously, it's less likely they win after 1 round than, longer sample size of holes, more rounds, the cream usually rises to the top. So you can get a guy like Rory McIlroy or any of the other top guys for first round leader at longer odds, and you get for them to win the entire tournament. So I actually do have a first round leader pick. I'm going to save it for a little bit later in the show, though, Jim. So stick around, because it does relate to one of our picks. So
I'm assuming it might be related to mine, and it might be my first round leader pick as well.
Ooh, all right. We'll get into it. Top 10. You are taking a guy who I took. Didn't I take him closest to the win last week?
Yep. He got you the closest to the win last week. And I'm, he's a little bit of a long shot for a top 10, but Ryan Moore's playing some damn good golf, man. And he's plus 800 for a top 10 this week. And I really like what he's doing coming into this event specifically. He's another guy short off the tee. Again, I do not care. But he's first in this field over the last 12 rounds in weighted strokes gained approach. Weighted strokes gained approach meaning like it's adjusted for field strength and things of that nature. So that's even more impressive. He's also top 2 in fairways gained, and first in good drive percentage over the last 12 rounds. Those are all the things I'm looking for. 13th in bogey avoidance as well over the last 12 rounds. He's checking all the boxes I'm looking for. And his last 2 starts at this event haven't gone well, but in 2019, he finished solo third. So he knows how to play well. And I think his form is kind of rebounding somewhat closer to what he would have been in 2019 than what he's been over the past few years. So at 8-1, I'm going to take a shot on it with how he's playing.
Solo third 2019, solo seventh 2018, T18 2017, and then, I mean, you have to go all the way back to 2012, but T8 in 2012 as well. So, yeah, great course history outside of the last 2 years, and his form is, obviously not rounding to in a level where, like, we're going to pick him to go win a major or something, but top 10 at this event, 8-1. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, my top 10 bet. We're getting into familiar name territory here because this is a guy that I think we both have picked at some point this show. If not, we've definitely talked about him a couple times. He is one of my favorite golfers, almost solely based on his name. It is Christian Bezuidenhout. I'm betting on him to win at 55-1. I'm also betting on him to finish in the top 10 at plus 350. That is my pick for the show, is top 10 at plus 350. He enters this week ranking 11th in strokes gained approach. He's historically been more of a short game wizard, but his approach play has been fantastic lately. And he's improved in each of his last 4 starts as well. So he's rounding into really good form. He missed the cut of the Cognizant, but then he's finished T44 at the API, T13 of the Players, T9 at the Valspar. So every single start over his last 4 starts has gotten better each time. He's also gained strokes gained around the green in his last 3 starts, which is typically a weakness for him throughout his career, but that's going to be important this week. So I'm going to finish him or bet on him to finish in the top 10 at plus 350.
I love it. I mean, I looked long and hard at Bez because that approach play and everything he's been doing well this season really fits into this. The one thing that kind of pushed me off of him and didn't, why I don't have a pick on him in this show or in my column on fansided.com is his driving accuracy isn't as good as you would kind of like it to be. It's a little bit all over the place, but he does rank better in terms of good drive percentage than he does driving accuracy. So that, I mean, it's not like something to completely run away from.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely makes sense. All right. We are moving on to top 5s. This is another name. I picked him at some point recently. I don't know if it was close to the win or top 20 or what. But this guy's been playing extremely good golf.
Yeah, and it's my first round leader bet. And that's what he was for you last week, because I believe going into last week, he led the tour in first round scoring average. That's Alex Noren at 6-1 to finish in the top 5. Here's his recent form. Last 3 starts, T9, T19, and T11. Absolutely cooking, playing really well. 13th in this field in strokes gained approach over the last 12 rounds. Top 40 in strokes gained off the tee. Top 40 in strokes gained around the green. Top 40 in strokes gained putting. He's doing everything at a top 3rd or top 4th of the field level. And he's also first in par 5 scoring and bogey avoidance over that span as well. So again, checking all these boxes that I'm looking for. And then you want a little course history? He was T15 here last year. And I think he's playing substantially better than he was last year at this point. So I think this is a perfect fit for what he does well. And he's doing what he does well better than he has in a year. So I think that getting aggressive for a top 5, sprinkling on him as an outright, I really like Alex Noren this week.
Yeah, I believe I bet on him I bet on him to win the Cognizant Classic. He ended up finishing T9. So he did have a good start. I should have just bet him top 10 or top 20, but I bet him at 70-1. He was my pick to win the Cognizant, and close but no cigar. But yeah, since then I think Cognizant was kind of his breakout event. Yeah, T9 and then T19 of the Players and then T11 last week. So Alex Noren has been playing some extremely good golf, and there's another golfer that I bet on at the Cognizant who has also been playing some extremely good golf, who played alongside Alex Noren in the final round this past week. Who I'm taking for my top 5. And that's Billy Ho.
Oh, yeah.
This might shock you, but when you look at total strokes gained on the PGA Tour this season, number 1 is Scotty Scheffler. That's not going to shock you. Number 2, Xander Schauffele. Number 6 in total strokes gained. By the way, I hate Xander Schauffele. Am I going to bet him on him at the Masters next week? Yes. Number 6 on the PGA Tour in total strokes gained is Billy Horschel, which is unbelievable to me. Not only number 6 in total strokes gained, he's 3rd on the PGA Tour in scoring average, but yet he's Now he's 35-1 to win this event. I actually bet on him at 33-1 on Monday. He's now 35-1 to win this event at some sports books and plus 650 to finish in the top 5 for the guy who has statistically this season been arguably the best guy in this field, because the two guys who rank above him in scoring average, Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele, aren't playing this week. Seems like an absolute no-brainer to me.
Absolutely.
T7 finished last week, too. He's in great form. Led the entire field in total strokes gained in the final round. He shot the best round on Sunday at 600 par, so he's playing the best golf he's played all season. I wouldn't bet on him in like a birdie fest event because he doesn't score a ton of birdies, but he scrambles extremely well. TPC San Antonio is a tough course. He finished 3rd here in 2015, 4th in 2016, so he has good course history as well. Billy Ho, I'm going to take him to win, and for this show, he is my top 5 pick at plus 650.
I absolutely love it. I gave Billy Ho a very hard look for a top 10, just because like everything you mentioned, like his scoring, but also I think the value that we're getting from him right now is based on how bad he was last year. In 2023, He was absolutely horrendous, like losing strokes across the board. Yeah. And he's really ironing that out, and he's becoming the balanced player that we've seen Billy Horschel be throughout most of his career. Yeah. So I think like, and then you brought up he's a grinder. Like he's a real grinder. He wears it on his sleeve when he grinds, but he's a grinder nonetheless. And this is the type of course that's going to make you grind a little bit.
Yeah, and I think him and Alex Noren are kind of very similar golfers in terms of, what their recent form is, what their strengths are, because I think I bet them both at the Cognizant Classic, formerly the Honda Classic, because they're both guys who aren't going to score a ton of birdies, but are going to scramble, extremely well and save a ton of pars. So I like that you have Noren top 5, and I'm taking Billy Horschel.
Yeah, definitely. That's a fun little pairing for sure.
Here's a tough question for you. I hope you can answer because I can't really answer this. Mondo says, can you explain how strokes gained off tee is calculated? Using Baz as an example, 3M, Valspar, Mexico, and Torrey are all supposed to be important off the tee. Bad's number is bad on that, but continued well in all of those. Do you want to try to tackle how strokes gained off the tee works? Because it's basically, I don't know what the exact calculation is, but it basically just compares how well you are in certain areas compared to the rest of the field.
Mm-hmm. And the reason Baddeley doesn't grade out well is he's short. He averages like 280 yards off the tee. And so like that's going to immediately depress with the value that's put on distance, that's going to immediately depress his strokes gained off the tee number. But those courses that you all brought up, strokes gained off the tee is important, but I think a lot of that is just correlated with who's won there. Like you look at the 3M, for example, the 3M, it's so important there because you've seen guys like Matthew Wolff, you've seen guys like Cameron Champ, you've seen those types of guys win at that event. So that's going to strongly correlate to success there. But being accurate is just as important. We've seen guys lose on the 18th tee at the 3M Open on the 72nd hole because they wipe it way left. And then you have that tough approach into that par 5 green. So like, I do think that his accuracy kind of mitigates his distance in those types of events. And same with Torrey. Mexico, you have to play the wind, which he is obviously, as someone from the New Zealand, Australia area, he's very adept at that. That's kind of a MO you see from that type of player. So I think that's kind of how you balance that out with Baddeley specifically. You kind of have to look at all the data to get the full picture though, because a lot of times strokes gained off the tee, you're going to be severely penalized if you're just short off the tee. And that's just kind of where that starts.
Boom. Thank you. That was a great answer. Let's move on to our winners. By the way, my first round leader is not Alex Noren. I'll let you know who it is in a second. Who is your pick to win the Valero Texas Open?
Yeah, we're going with Swedes at the top of the leaderboard, man. Ludwig Åberg, 12-1, short odds. I don't care. I can't quit him. I love him so much. I love the way he plays golf. And it feels like the narrative has been brewing over like the past couple months that he's been lackluster. And as I dug into the numbers and as I dug into his finishes, not really sure that that's anything, but he hasn't won since the RSM Classic last year. He hasn't finished worse than T25 since he was T30 at the Sony Open. And that includes a runner-up at Pebble and a solo 8th finish at the Players. So his finishes have been very good, especially for a PGA Tour rookie. And then you look at the numbers, 17th in this field on strokes gained approach over the last 16 rounds. And he's also one of the better balances in terms of his strokes gained numbers from 75 to 100 yards and then 200 plus yards on approach. So he really fits what this course is going to ask for. On top of that, we talked about it a bunch. He's one of the best drivers on the PGA Tour already. Yep. Long and straight. That's just what he does well. And so that's going to play well here as well. And he's going to be dialed in with those irons like he has been for most of this year. He's also been quietly decent with the short game, top 50 in both strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting. And then on top of that, I like a little narrative mixed in when I'm picking outright, and it would be very fitting for Ludwig to go out, win this event, and go into the Masters, his first Masters, completely overhyped, because we know that course experience at Augusta is so important. He hasn't played that course, so I think it would be very fitting for him to win this, and then everyone be all on him for the Masters, only for him to probably finish outside the top 40, honestly.
Yeah, I like it. So Ludwig is actually my first round leader pick.
Okay.
I'm going with the strategy of I like him. I don't love him at 12-1. So I wanted to bet on him in a different way this tournament, because just 12-1 doesn't excite me in terms of Ludwig. So I took him to be the first round leader, and I think it's like 25-1, 28-1. I forget exactly. Let me just quickly look it up here. Because that's another way that you can do a first round leader. 25-1 at BetMGM specifically to be first round leader. Because that's one way you can do first round leader, is if you like a golfer, but you think his odds are too short, but you think he's a great course fit, checks a lot of boxes, you can just try to take him first round leader at longer odds.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how I'm playing Ludwig this week.
It's a little ironic that 12-1 scares you off when you've been on Scotty Scheffler sub 7-1 the past 2 weeks.
I think I said it last week that I was going to bet on Scheffler to win. I didn't give it out as a pick on the show, but I had 2 units on him to win, and then I put another unit on him on Sunday on the back 9. He was, I think, 5-1. I put another unit on him, so I had 3 units on him, and I was like, oh, he's going to hit this putt, force a playoff, and he's going to win. It's going to be another Scotty Scheffler win. Cash it, put it in the bank, and then he missed that 5-foot putt, and I fell out of my chair. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, left it short. Didn't just miss it, left it short.
Like, I know Scheffler is obviously not the best putter in the world, and that's cost him a lot of wins, but you still think the number 1 golfer in the world with a shot at the playoff on the line, especially with the past 2 weeks, every time he needed to hit a putt, he was hitting it the past couple of weeks. So I was like, there's no way. I know he's missed some short ones, but there's no way he's going to miss this one to force a playoff, and he fucking missed it. I was pissed.
Let me ask you this while we're on the Scotty conversation. And this could be an overreaction, but I'm a little worried about that putt going into the Masters. That's the last shot he's going to hit before he tees off on number 1 at Augusta.
Yeah, I think I've decided I'm not going to bet Scheffler to win the Masters.
Okay.
I am doing the rollover top 10, which I think is still only, I think I've rolled it over like 6 times, and it's still only $140 off an original $20 bet. It was minus 300 this past week, I think it was. So it's now a $140 bet I'll have on him to just finish top 10. And I think that's the only way I'm going to bet Scheffler at the Masters, because, And obviously there's a lot more competition at the Masters with the live guys there. So I can't get to him being, 4-1?
Yeah, that's tough, especially like the last putter feel he's going to have, which obviously has been a problem, whether he wants to admit it or not. It has been a problem. And now he's going to the slickest greens that they're going to see in 2024. Yeah. So that doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
No, I mean, not at that price. I mean, give me Scheffler, 8-1, of course, I'm going to hammer it. But a 4-1, I just can't get there.
Yeah, with the Tiger-esque number from odds makers.
Yeah. All right, my pick to win here. Guy picked to win a couple of weeks ago, I believe, but he is playing unbelievable golf. Hideki Matsuyama.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that coming?
Oh yeah, absolutely. How do you not love Hideki at this place?
Yeah, you have to love him. You have to love the way that Hideki's been playing too. And I will say this: if you want to bet on a golfer to win the Masters this week before next week, bet on Hideki Matsuyama. He is available right now. I'm looking at even at just BetMGM, so there might be better odds out there, but 28-1, you can bet on Hideki Matsuyama right now. If he plays well in this event, he will not be 28-1 next week. I can guarantee it. If he finishes top 5, even top 10 at this event, if he's flirting around the top of the leaderboard or even wins this event, he's going to be 20-1, 18-1 next week. So if you want an early Masters bet, Hideki Matsuyama right now, 28-1.
And BetMGM's the best odds out there, actually.
There you go. So 28-1 on Hideki Matsuyama next week. He's 18-1 this week, at least where I bet him. I think he's actually available at 20-1 somewhere else. But yeah, absolutely love Hideki Matsuyama. Checks every single box that you want. He also leads the PGA Tour right now. Actually, 22-1. He's available at FanDuel. I wish I got that price, but that is obviously he's somehow gotten his odds have been longer this week for some reason. Leads the PGA Tour in strokes gained around the green, which is huge this week, huge at the Masters. That's actually a big reason why he won the Masters when he did, was he was chipping unbelievable that tournament. He's been chipping unbelievable so far this year as well. His last 3 starts have been win, T12, T6. His approach game is as good as it's ever been. He's not completely killing himself with his putting like he has at times in the past. Hideki Matsuyama, I think, is quietly playing like the best golf of his career right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw it coming because I messaged you pre-show and said, I'm thinking Hideki top 5, but I know that you have him as an outright. So are you going with him to win? So
yeah,
absolutely love him as a pick to win. I think that, like you said, he checks every single box for here and Augusta. That was one thing that actually stood out to me. I don't think I ever realized it. There's a little bit of correlation between TPC San Antonio and Augusta National Golf Club.
A little bit, sure. Yeah. And Hideki finished T15 at this event last year as well, too. So good course history. So, so there you go. Hideki Matsuyama, 18-1. Closest to the win. If you're new to the show, Cody and I pick a golfer at least 100-1 odds. And the golfer of the 2 that we picked that finishes closest to the win, close to the top of the leaderboard, gets a point. And the loser at the end of the year has to pay for a round of golf for the winner. I'm up 5-2. I've taken a commanding lead and close to the win. I lost it in the first season of Green on the Greens. I had to pay for a round of golf for you this year. Last week, I had Ryan Moore, who finished, I think, T31. You had Bobby Mack, who missed the cut by a stroke. So that is a win for me to give me the 5-2 lead. My close to the win picks continue to be great. If you want a cheap option to go in like a DFS lineup or someone to bet like top 30 or top 40, take my close to the win picks because they've been unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I went back and looked at our old closest to the win picks. Do you know that we had 7 points handed out total for the entire season the first time we did this? Yeah, it was 4-3 was what I won by. And so now we've already gotten 7. Yeah, it was insane. We had a lot of miscuts in there. We were not, and I'll give us a little bit of credit. The criteria then was 150-1. So
okay, yeah, that's true. That is
so we were going a little bit longer shot.
That is true. I think the only event that both of our picks missed the cut was the WM Phoenix Open. Both of our guys missed the cut, but since then, at least one guy's made the cut, and we've had like a few top 20s and top 10s mixed in there too. So, who do you got this week close to the win?
I'm going with Andrew Novak, 110-1. He's fallen off a little bit since his run of top 10s that he was on, but his T53 last week looked a little bit better. He had a really bad Saturday, but every other round was pretty solid. He finished strong, bounced back from the Saturday on Sunday with a strong showing. I think he was 3 under on Sunday. And he was T17 at the Valspar the week prior and missed the cut the tournament before that. But he was solo 9th here last year. I like that. He's top 40 in strokes gained approach and around the green in the last 20 rounds. Also top 40 in greens and regulation over that span. Decently accurate off the tee. Been playing really well and obviously going to a place where he has good feels. I like Andrew Novak. I think he's, in the midst of a good season. I like him to continue it.
All right, I like it. I've been underthinking my close to the win picks, and they've been hitting. I don't try to overthink it. I don't overanalyze. These are long shot golfers, so I've been flirting with taking this guy, and I have brought his name up in the past. I've not yet taken him. I don't know why. I love watching this guy golf. He makes me giggle, and I think now is the time for me to take him. So I'm completely underthinking this pick. It might not work in my favor. Do you know who I'm going to say?
My only guess would be Alejandro Tosti, just because he's an insane person.
He does make me giggle, though, but he's not this week. Give me Cooch. Cooch. 125-1. Listen, he sucks this year. His last 5 events, he's gone cut. Valspar, he did make the cut, finished T49, but if there's ever a course that you want to bet on Matt Kuchar, it might be this one, because his last 4 starts at this event, T7, T12, T2, T3. In 2022, and these aren't like old starts. In 2022, he finished T2. Last year, he finished T3 at this event. So if there's ever a time for me to take Cooch for close to the win, it's now. So give me Cooch. He makes me giggle. He's an old guy. He just kind of lumbers around out there. He hits the ball. He drives the ball like 250 yards. He has a great short game, though. Reports are he's kind of an asshole, to be honest. Remember when he
Stiff the caddy.
Stiff the caddy at a caddy in Mexico. He just like hired a local caddy, like agreed he'd pay him like $5,000, won the tournament. And then was like, no, like we agreed to the $5,000. That's what it was. I'm not giving you a cent more. Meanwhile, like he took home like $5 million. He's like refused to toss the guy like an extra like little bit of money. He was like, no, we agreed $5,000. Doesn't matter that I won. It's $5,000. That's what you get. So yeah, noted kind of an asshole, but I don't know. He makes me giggle to watch golf. So I've been waiting for a chance to take him. I think now I have to do it just because of his course history.
I actually thought about it, and looking through course history, I was wondering if you were going to take him or another guy who this is kind of his open, Charlie Hoffman. I wondered if you were going to go with Charlie Hoffman on this one. So right. I actually looked at both of these and thought about that for you. But
is Hoffman playing this week?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hoffman is the classic first-round leader at Augusta. I mean, I'm obviously not going to bet. There was like 4 years in a row he was the first-round leader.
Oh, yeah, it was insane. I mean, and I don't think he actually has a good finish there either, which is the craziest part.
Yeah, you know it's Masters week when you see Charlie Hoffman's name on the leaderboard. But yeah, he's another guy who, great course history. Second in 2019, second in 2021, T22 last year, won it in 2016. There was a span from, I'm looking at now, from 2009 and 2016 where he finished T13 or better every single one of those years. And people forget he finished second at the Phoenix Open this year. Remember that? Remember when Charlie Hoffman almost won the Phoenix Open? Wild.
And we wonder why we went 0-for-8 on the Phoenix Open when Charlie Hoffman's finishing freaking second.
Yeah, exactly. But no, my close to the win pick's going to be Cooch this week at 125-1. How about that?
Georgia Tech, great, as I wear a Georgia Bulldogs golf shirt.
There you go. Mondo was in the chat with a lot more questions here. Let me see. Baz is one of the best birdies ever on the PGA Tour on hole 17. He hit it out of bounds a few years ago. Re-tee, hold it out off the tee on a third shot. Wow, that's pretty wild. Aberg plays well unless I use him on DraftKings. Not using him this week, so go for it. He is a lock. That's classic. We all have golfers like that. Xander's my version of that.
I think Xander's everyone's version of that.
Yeah, true. I have Hideki in my 6-man team this week. I'm the kiss of death. Well, I don't want to hear that, Mondo. Come on, let's cheer for Hideki. He's been playing too well to have a bad week. All right, there you go. That's the show. Any final thoughts here for the Valero Texas Open? Do you have any golfers who you think I brought up Hideki as a good golfer to bet on this week before the odds adjust next week for the Masters? Do you have anyone you would suggest you might want to get your bet in early for the Masters, or should we wait?
So I mentioned last week Brooks Koepka, and his odds have already dropped from last week. He was at 25-1 last week, and now he's at 20-1. So those odds are already correcting. Thankfully, I got wind of that and put a little investment in Brooks Koepka. Hopefully he plays well in Miami. I think another one I'm looking at is, and this based off of last week, I'm a little worried about this, but I'm curious what Will Zalatoris is going to do because he's played very well at the Masters, and we know that he tends to just pop up at these really difficult golf courses. So I have some eyes on Will Zalatoris, and frankly, I'm a little intrigued by his poor form because I think it might depress his odds a little bit.
Interesting. I said last week I was going to bet on Jason Day unless he had a bad week, and he had a bad week. So I'm officially off Jason Day for the Masters. I'm just not in good enough form for me to want to take a shot at him. I'm interested to see how all the odds adjust next week. Xander Schauffele, 20-1.
Also, Cam Smith at 32-1. Don't hate that.
All right. But yeah, tune in next week. Obviously, we're going to have a big show for the Masters. I'm going to try to bring in a third person for that show since it's a major. So that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe to Bet Sidled on YouTube. Give us a like. Leave a comment who you're betting on this week. And that is it. That's the Valero Texas Open. Good luck, everyone. Gamble or bless. We burn the sage. If there's a time to have a good week, it's now.
That's right.
Take care. Talk to you next week.